Want some water?
Yes, actually. Thank you. That would be good. Water. I think Dana ran to go get you some tissues.
There's some fresh water. You can find it.
Great.
It's more just about we need. Hey, welcome to Candace Owens Show.
Okay, ready?
All right, let's do it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Candace Owens Show, where you get my unfiltered opinions. And this one is definitely unfiltered. It's something that I should have said a lot earlier. There's been a lot of scandals. One that I stayed uncharacteristically silent about, and it was the Roseanne Barr scandal. This was not about Black America. This was about a positive Trump-supporting show, which the left couldn't stand because it was ratings galore. And that's the truth, and people don't like to admit the truth.
I think that, I think they had it in for me the whole time, which, you know, I'll talk to you about as we go. But at the time of that tweet, I was in the middle of a conversation about the Iranian people for 3 months on Twitter. Most of the reason I ever went on Twitter was to defend, you know, Jewish people and, you know, our way of life and our thinking, and also a new way of being in the Middle East. And so I was speaking about Iran, and I was speaking to Iranian people, particularly reporters and journalists from there who are like going, you know, talking about what it's like. And we had already established for quite a while that the Iran deal by the Obama administration had strengthened and empowered a government who has less than no regard for its women or its citizens.
Of course.
And so we had said it's like Planet of the Apes there.
Right.
And so I was dreaming that and woke up, and like I've said a million times, but, you know, I was a little impaired. It was Memorial Day. I had a couple of beers and I took an Ambien. Never mix those.
Right.
So I woke up out of a dead sleep at 2 a.m. and I'm like, I've got it. I've got the words that are going to put the whole thing in perspective and save the world. And I sent that tweet. And now, since that time, which was June last year, it's been like, why did I put it that way? And I look at it like, I should have reversed it. And it was a total impaired tweet, but it disguised what I meant. And what I meant was that, you know, I was talking about the Obama administration and their collusion with Muslim Brotherhood from Egypt into Iran and the Middle East and the United States.
Right.
And how their Iran deal is the most oppressive thing to empower a government who's just mullahs and their oppression of particularly women and children, but men too.
Right.
And so it all got a little jumbled up. But what was horrifying about it to me was the way that it was purposely mischaracterized, and I was not allowed to explain it or apologize. Well, I mean, I did apologize, but I was never allowed to say what it was actually about and what I meant.
Well, of course not. You're a conservative. That's not how it works. Conservatives don't get second chances. Conservatives don't get to apologize. Conservatives don't get to explain in a fuller form what they were talking about. You should know that. Those are the rules. And nobody knew that Valerie Jarrett was even 10% Black. Nobody knew that. Nobody thought she was Black. They just dug for something and said, ha, we've got her. We can get this show off. We don't want to normalize Trump supporters in any regard in the mainstream media.
Yeah, I found all that out after.
Did you have to find it out? It was the most obvious thing in the entire world why you were a target.
Well, I knew, but I didn't think people knew, so I wanted to keep going there, you know.
Right.
But, yeah, they targeted me from day one.
Megyn Kelly, gone. Megyn Kelly didn't even say anything that was offensive. She said, when I was a kid growing up, people used to wear blackface and they weren't offended as long as you were truly going as the character. Her entire show is gone, wiped, gone. She's off of NBC.
Her
whole career, yeah, done, because she said something that wasn't even offensive. She's telling you about something that happened in the past. I mean, why can't she talk about her experience with that in a non-offensive way? They made her apologize, which I staunchly disagreed with. I actually think conservatives should not apologize. I know,
that's what all my friends said to me. They go, you shouldn't have apologized because that's a death knell to the left.
There was not a single Black person in America that was offended by what you said. It was the left using Black people as human shields to go after their political opponents and people that are mainstreaming conservatism. You were mainstreaming conservatism. You got attacked. In the exact same regard, I got attacked for a long conversation I was having about nationalism versus socialism versus globalism. And then they say, I hate Jewish people. Me, who flew over for the embassy opening. I hate Jewish people. You hate black people. And yet here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
Here we are. It's amazing.
It's fun.
Right. It's amazing, right? Right.
They run on hate. My boyfriend said to me, and I still think this is the truest thing anyone said to me, is that, you know, my show killed the hate business. It put a knife in the heart of the hate business.
It did.
And they couldn't have that because they fundraise on hate.
Right.
And, you know, all the networks and all the news things, they're just part of the Democratic Party.
What is it? 90% of everything on TV is left leaning. Or 85%.
But they're part of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
They're an arm of the Democratic Party.
That's why I don't watch it. I don't turn on the TV because there's nothing there for me. It's almost like a mass brainwashing. And when your show came, it was just so refreshing. It's like families are being torn apart over something that means nothing at the end of the day. Conservatism versus liberalism. And then you have this show that humanizes it and uses laughter. And that's what, by the way, comedy is for. You're a comedian, last I checked, is to heal America through laughter. And the death of comedy and this and Kevin Hart and all of these scandals that are happening with everybody that makes a joke.
They're going to get all of us.
100%.
I think I'm just the first big one, but all my friends. I did want to say that when this happened to me, the only people who called me were black people who were my friends who knew the fighter I've been for my whole life for civil rights. And I thought, well, how come no white people called me? I thought, well, because they don't know what I've done.
Right.
They don't know what I live and what I do. And, you know, they put me in a little pen like they put us all in. I say it's human veal. They put us in little veal pens, and, you know, we walk around as human veal in high heels or whatever, women particularly, and we don't know how to fight back. So I thought, well, what a great thing for me to come and talk to you because you're a fighter, and I applaud you, and I respect and admire you. Your views are brilliant.
Thank you.
You know, I thought this would be a good place to start. I totally respect you and everything you're doing, and I support Brexit, because I know that really is the linchpin of the whole thing, which you call it the plantation. I love that. I call it Egypt because I'm Jewish. It's leaving Egypt,
right,
and getting free of Pharaoh. But for all the African American people I know that are Brexiting, I say to them, please take 2 Jews with you. Please, if I've ever caused you to laugh or feel good about anything in the world, please do me a favor, repay me. Get 2 Jews to go with you.
Right.
Because I really think that if black people are the leaders of civil rights and civil discourse in our country, and if they'll go, the Jews will follow them.
Right.
Because the Jews want to do what black people do.
And it's funny because I think they know that. So when I was trying to assess like how crazy this trying to smear me and libel me as a Nazi sympathizer, I felt when I sat down and critically that they were trying to create drama between the Jewish community and the black community.
Yeah.
You say the Jewish community, you can't see the people that are Brexiting, you stay away from them because they hate Jews. And what a crazy, absurd concept.
Right.
But a necessary one that they want to create.
They've wanted to. I've been in, I can't think of the word that we are, activists, whatever, since the 60s. And I've seen it from beginning to now. I've seen it all the way through. I've been there the whole time. And they definitely tried to put a wedge. I remember I used to be in a women's collective in the 70s, 60s and 70s in Denver. And we were Jewish women, women of color. We had a lot of white women too. And we were just like a woman's collective. And then we started to see the factioning that came along, and it factioned first between blacks and Jews. And it was because of Angela Davis, I was there when she said Zionism is racism. That was the cudgel that broke us.
Interesting.
And it was on purpose. It was with foreign money to create a divide in this country so that we can't stick together and make sure that our children are taken care of.
That's right. And they think that if the minority community comes together,
right.
I mean, they know if the minority community comes together, it's over for them. It spells the end for the left because
it does.
We are the slaves. I mean, we are the ones that are mentally enslaved.
That's
we are the ones that keep buying into the same narrative and getting no results, and it's actually negatively impacting our communities.
Well, we're the ones that are targeted.
Right.
And so, when they broke the blacks and the Jews apart, what happened, I've seen, this is me saying it, black people's public schools and living conditions and their safety net became less and less. And so did the Jews.
Right.
And then, after they broke those two, which was, what they sought to do, then they got into each community, divided each community against itself. Left versus right, these and that and the other. But like I always say, there's really only one party, and it's the money party.
Right. That's it.
So, that's how they steal the money.
Yeah.
They take public money, put it in private pockets while we're all fighting each other. People that are getting robbed are fighting with each other that's getting robbed, and they're taking all the money. It's a Ponzi scheme.
It is.
And we have to wake up to that because and I think we're so close. We're so close to
I feel it.
Taking it and going, no, you work for us.
That's
okay?
right.
And if you don't do a good job, you're going to get fired. They're public. I always say this about public servants. I was like, you know what? You're not a very good servant. You're not serving me, and I pay you, so you need to get fired. And you can't fire him.
No, I mean, the Governor Northam scandal, he's not going anywhere.
No.
It's just amazing to me.
They can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want, and it doesn't matter.
Because they have the media.
They
have the media, and that's their power right there.
Right, that's exactly right. And media.
And I thought, oh man, I'm going to get in there and we'll do this.
You did well, though. I even think in a weird way, because sometimes things happen and you're like, why? But it had to happen to you that way.
Yeah, it did.
They had to stake you and do all of that to actually wake up a lot of people to the astounding hypocrisy of a left. Like, if it's a conservative, everything must go. There's no apology. But if it's someone that's on the left, there's literally no repercussions.
No.
Has there been a Bub, am I missing a
There's
leftist
none.
that there was a repercussion
There's
for?
none.
Northam is wearing a Ku Klux Klan hood or wearing blackface and in his yearbook. No repercussions.
Yeah, but it's ridiculous anyway. It was 30 years ago. And
Right.
Again, like you said, there's no repentance on the left. There's no...
No, there's
Right.
no remorse
There's
either.
anything.
No
You're
remorse.
just
No.
You did it and you're like
Your whole life,
your whole
every
life is
moment.
done.
Yeah.
It's absurd. So
Yeah. And
It's a war. I mean, come on. It's a real war. It's a real cultural war.
it's a cultural war. And I actually think this is something that conservatives aren't understanding.
No, they're not.
And I've been super against. I mean, I've not only fielded attacks from the left, I've fielded attacks from the right.
Right.
Which is just, to me, mind-boggling because they have this idea. I call it puritanical conservatism. Okay?
Oh, that's a good thing.
Puritanical
Yeah, that's good.
conservatism, where it's like, this is the way we do conservatism, and we don't fight back. Like, this is the proper way. No, the left is not fighting proper, okay? This is like trench warfare.
That's right.
And if we don't understand that and understand that the battle is cultural, the battle is about getting a show like you had and sparking a conversation that's national and defending and calling it what it is when what happens to you happens. And people don't have the courage. They don't have the courage. They want to be clean cut.
They also call them fake MAGA.
Fake MAGA.
Because, as soon as Trump turns one way, they're like, we hate Trump now, They don't get the big picture at all. They're lost in a micro.
Right. Do you think that that's what it is? That you think that all of the recent attacks on him from people that are on the right?
Yeah, I think they're lost in the micro, and also I do think they're cowards because if you follow them, they go, oh, well, we're praying it away. Well, come on, faith without works is dead. It's about action, not prayer.
Right.
You got to do both.
Right.
You got to be on the spiritual battlefield. You don't do that by going, I forgive. But like my son says, he goes, thank God that the right or whatever we are, because I don't go left or right. I don't play their crap because it's like what they've done. Both of these extremes, and they have. I can't think of the word now, but they've demonized the vast middle.
Right.
And I'm in the vast middle, and so are you. So I'm not even going to say any left, right, or none of that.
Calling me far right is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I know.
I'm like, I'm far right.
We're middle, and we need
free.
to say that.
Yeah.
We're middle, vast.
They don't
the
call
majority.
Us middle. They don't call us middle in the press. They want everyone to think.
But we are.
The strategy is simply to make sure that other people never get to hear us. I mean, the idea is to keep Candace Owens off of college campuses because what she's saying makes so much sense that if people show up, they might listen. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's about, right? What the strategy is to make sure that we're constantly demonized, and it's because they don't want people to find us likable. Right. Your show is just so likable, right? So what are we going to do with her show? We need to demonize her. We need to make it seem, we have to make people know she hates black people. And not a single person, left, right, or middle, believes that for a second. No one with a straight face can say, I think Roseanne Barr is a avowed racist. No one can say it with a straight face. It
really pisses me off that they called me racist, and I always say, well, we've all done something racially and said something racially insensitive in our lives. Come on, this is America.
Right.
And we've all done it, but that's not racism.
Right.
And to put me in with people who want every Jew dead and every black person dead, and put me right in that ken with them, that's complete racism.
That is.
And I just think they're ridiculous, and they make me sick.
Right.
And I'd like to go around starting to slap people upside the head, too. But, I can't for reasons of insurance.
Right. So what was it like in, you find out this tweet goes viral and things are crazy. What were your next few days like?
I had a complete nervous breakdown.
Did you?
A complete. And I've had a few of them. And I've said I've had so many nervous breakdowns and nobody ever notices.
Right.
Because they were so normal for me. But no, this was a complete one. I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk.
Wow. I
couldn't get out of bed. And luckily, I was at my mom's house, and my mother, she took care of me, and that was something I really needed my whole life, and I finally got in just great amounts. It was wonderful. So, and then it came out that, I was going to, I got a big tattoo of the phoenix up here. And I was just looking at that the whole time going, okay, you're going to come up from the ashes again. Right. And this time it's going to be what you really want.
Right. I actually want to talk about this complete nervous breakdown because I don't think people understand what we have to go through being on the front lines of just literally for sport, people trying to ruin our lives and break you every second.
Every second.
Every second, trying to break you. And I mean, I've had my own, they weren't nervous breakdowns, but I've had definitely some rough nights or a rough week. And they don't care. These people that
they laugh at it. They think it's cool.
Yeah, they think it's cool. It's like,
and then they come around to rub their boot right in your face.
Right. And it's evil.
Yeah,
it's actually evil. Mm-hmm. It's like, I want to see if I can ruin your life publicly, and it's not easy to get up every single day knowing that there are just sharks in the water that are out for blood.
They're fascists.
Yeah. They are. That's exactly right. They are the real fascists. They want to shut down perspective and speech, and
they enjoy when they can make people suffer. And people who do that, man, they have no self-reflection whatsoever. I'm convinced that when they look in the mirror, they don't see anything except for the mask. They don't see themselves as human, and they're kind of not.
Right. I think they're
it makes me think about how we need to redefine the word human and what it means.
I think that the journalists, I call them journal sadists. They enjoy bringing pain to people.
They do.
And inflicting pain, and it makes them feel really good about themselves and powerful about themselves. And we're in this weird era where we don't have journalists anymore.
No, we don't.
Few and far between. I've maybe seen one or two.
Well, we have people's journalists now. We have people who are doing, the stories.
That's right.
People who are doing the research.
Right.
And then telling the stories. They're not parroting CIA talking points.
Right. And it's grateful that we have the internet in this way to get around. Otherwise, how many lives would they ruin?
Like you and me woke up, there's millions of us all across the world. And, we got to be glad for that and say, they're putting their lives on the line too.
Right.
You know, maybe they don't use their real name or something, but they're fighting our fight.
What got you through it?
God, I'm a real believer. You know, I'm a believer, and I've always had that connection. And I was mad at God because I was like, when I woke up at that time and sent that tweet, I had that God feeling, because I get this God feeling when I write. I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Where's a pen? And I never have a pen or paper because I'm a writer. But I'm like, oh man, it finally came together in this mess up here. Something, and I had that feeling. And every time when I have had that feel in my life, I always thank God that He gave me words of power to speak or to write or to have someone else speak, even in the form of jokes, you know,
Right.
to move people.
Right.
And I had that feeling. And then when I woke up in the morning, I mean, when I wrote it and then I fell back to sleep. As I fell back to sleep, I'm like, this is really going to fix things.
Thank you, God, for these wonderful words.
For the people in Iran. And because I was obsessed with Iran, because last time I was in Israel, I was with all my friends my good friends are rabbis, because all I ever just talk about Torah, and everyone hates me because I make them mad, because they're like, even my own kids are like, give it a rest, mother. But that's what I like. So most of my friends are rabbis, right? So I was in Israel with these people, and we got these phone calls on our cell phones from people in Iran. This was 3 years ago. We don't know how they got our phone numbers or anything, but they called, and here's what they said. It still makes the hair stand up, but it was so exciting. They go, hello, and they were speaking English to us, and they said, we want you to know the people in Iran love the Jewish people. We hold nothing bad toward you. We want no trouble with you. We just want to be free. And it was like, so that's why I was so obsessed with Iran for all this time, because, you know, I kept in touch with people, and I just feel it's a great women's revolution trying so hard to happen there.
Right. Well, I mean, it did happen in Iran in the 70s. They had the Iranian Revolution, and then they went the exact opposite way.
Well, America keeps on screwing up with Iran. I don't know why America keeps screwing with Iran.
Well, it's like our parents. We can't say anything.
Yeah. Right? I'm so used to.
Yeah.
But I don't know why America does what it does in Iran. From Iran-Contra to this Iran deal, it's like, what are they do? Why are our tax dollars doing this? I don't like it. But anyway, what were we talking about? I lost my chain.
No, it's fine. You can lose your train of thought. Your train can come back. It'll come back at any time. Actually, now that we're focusing and talking about Israel, I want to talk about this current tide of anti-Semitism that seems to be creeping up, because not enough people are talking about this. Mm-hmm. And I am paying Jeremy Corbyn, for example, linking arms with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, both of them hostile towards Israel, unapologetically, by the way. That's even more alarming, is that it's unapologetic. You got Ilhan Omar, right, linking arms with AOC, who also is open. She just is just like, hello, I hate Jews. That's pretty much her platform.
Yeah, I know.
And she's in office, and we have the president who is respectfully saying that she should step down. Right. She shouldn't be on any foreign advisory board. And we have the three of them coming together, and it boggles my mind.
Me too.
Because it's scary.
It's scary that we have Hamas in our Congress.
What's the other one's name? Rashida. Yeah. Rashida Tlaib. Is that what I'm saying? Yeah, Rashida Tlaib. And these people are openly saying that they support Hamas. They you know, it's.
And Hamas openly supports the murder of Jews for money.
Right.
And it's so evil that it's invisible. That's the thing about anti-Semitism. It is so evil that it's invisible. But it is racism.
Right.
And so they're so inextricably bound. And that's why they wanted to separate our two communities, because we wouldn't have each other's back.
I believe that. I really do believe that is the goal. But
they found that cudgel.
But Jeremy Corbyn is leading the Labour Party in
I
the
know.
UK. Like, so to me, the idea that he's leading the entire party and he's openly hostile towards Israel and nobody's talking about it, and we're seeing traces of that sort of appear on the left here.
Yeah.
Where do we go? Like,
No, it's full blown on the left here. I
Right.
ran for president as a socialist in 2012, and I saw how full blown it was at that time, and it was staggering. And I decided then I can't be a part of this stuff in any way. And, I was full socialist my whole life. My father, my grandfather, socialists, and
never picked up a math book, not once.
who my parent, no, and then, this is not your father's socialism, I always say. Because back then, when I was a kid and it was about socialism, it was about the safety net. And it wasn't about hating Jews, and it wasn't about hating Israel. It wasn't about imperialism. It was about, hey, we need to be paid fairly for our work and have union protection. And I still don't see anything wrong with that. I still like that. But it went way too far. And it went straight into communism. Americans,
it always does.
Yeah, it always does. But I still, at that point, I had the idea that there could be a social safety net for Americans,
Right.
working Americans, working class people. And now I'm like, now we got to get rid of the whole damn money system and start over, throw it out and start completely over.
What do you mean?
I think, well, I'm going to make a video about how I see a new system that works for people.
And you don't think capitalism works for people?
I do, but I don't like how capitalism doesn't actually figure in the true cost of things.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
Well, I don't think that there should be a money system based on slavery. I think slavery should be illegal in all of its forms. It shouldn't exist at this time on the earth.
So give me an example, are you saying in the United States, or are you saying...
In the world.
Okay.
And it shouldn't be, capitalism should not be a race to the bottom, which they always call free markets. But I think it needs to be regulated so that it can't have anything to do with slave markets. That can't be part of free markets. What's that book? The book about the Amistad. That says it right there. We can't use the high seas to move human cargo. Just put some laws like that in.
Right.
Make war illegal too while you're at it.
Right.
And let's change capitalism so that you're actually investing in good things and people's lives and their health. Because they do just the opposite, but they never figure in the cost. They never figure in the cost to communities or humanity. And that needs to be figured in to the whole free markets, whatever you're going to call it.
So you're saying, are you talking about on a global scale, like if America, I'm just giving an example here, if America is buying sneakers from China and there are kids in factories getting paid 3 cents an hour.
And they're jumping out the window to kill themselves to make Apple iPhones.
Right.
No, not when other people have $400 billion. It's just common sense. I would not, I used to say there should be a maximum wage. But, and I kind of still think that at a certain point, you owe something back to humanity. If you're going to get $500 billion, you sort of owe something. But I don't think that we should tax anybody. I don't think that socialist way of we must tax 90% of, no, because I already pay 46% of everything I make to taxes.
Right.
And I don't want it to go to Jerry Brown.
Right.
I'm thinking of moving out of here.
Yeah, I seriously, that's what's happening. We're seeing a flight away from California.
No, I'm just talking about something really that needs to happen in this century when we have this great technology that can actually solve problems, and we need to do that. We need to figure out a way to get food to the hungry kids. And that should be our priority.
And are you saying, so do you do you employ like an America First policy when you talk about that, or do you think that we should just be solving all of the world problems?
No, I'm America First.
Okay.
Right now.
Yeah, I am too.
Because we have to. It has to start here.
Right.
We're the hope of the world.
Yeah,
don't you think?
I can't, oh, absolutely. I mean, I was at a protest yesterday because I like to go to these crazy leftist protests just to see what's going on. And
You're in trouble.
Yeah, and I mean, I was wearing my MAGA hat.
Are they mean to you?
Me, trouble? I was wearing my MAGA hat in a sea of pussy hats. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, I just like to see what's going on and just watch them be hypocritical, pretending to champion minority rights. Obviously, there's just something striking about these leftist protests. They're always all middle-aged white people,
That's right.
And they're talking about issues for minorities. Well, where the hell are the minorities that you're talking about issues for?
They're nowhere near them.
They're nowhere near them.
I always
they're
say
at work because it was a Monday morning and it was 8 a.m. And this is white privilege right here. If you can be here
absolutely.
at 8 a.m. in the morning on a Monday yelling in a pussy hat, you might be embodying that mythical white privilege that you talk about all the time.
Exactly. I always say I shouldn't say, but...
You should say.
Well, there are always like really obese people from the Midwest that are telling about how Israel should be.
Right? It's like
it's like, why don't you go on a diet?
It is striking.
Why don't you go on a diet?
Right.
And save some of your food and send that somewhere.
I'm very curious.
You're an obese, bitter woman, and you're white, and you're from Nebraska, and you don't know crap about people in Israel, so zip it.
Right. The demographics of these movements is always unbelievably interesting. Like the radical feminist movement. I mean, the Women's March. It's the same. It's like miserable, overweight, middle-aged women who are just not happy with their lives, and they're making it about men, and they're making it like somehow
it's all projection.
It's all Trump's fault because he embodies an alpha male and maybe the guy that turned them down. And it's striking to me to pay attention to this.
I just said that yesterday with somebody because I'm going to get in. I can't get in too much trouble.
No, we've already gotten over.
I know. Yeah. It's fun.
What else are you going to do? Yeah.
What the hell? It's fun. I might as well. Somebody needs to.
Right.
But I was saying about the MeToo movement. They were talking about that, and I shouldn't go there.
Oh, you should go there. Do you know how much trouble I got in for it? You can't be in worse trouble than me for talking about Me Too. Don't worry.
First of all, let me tell you, Mike Tyson, who's hilarious and a friend for a long time, he calls it the YouTube movement.
What, the YouTube movement, meaning?
You too.
Like?
They're going to get you too.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And I noticed, because I was the one who said it first, like I went against the Me Too movement early, like right when it came out of the gates. So I got roundly condemned by both sides. And I was like, guys, if you don't see the writing on the wall with this, it's going to become a mechanism for people witch hunt. It's going to be a mechanism for the Christine Blasey Ford types to ascertain power. I mean, and then obviously came along Christine Blasey Ford, and everyone was like, Candace was right.
Nothing happened to her either.
She should be in prison.
She should be in prison.
She's not required to file a police report or anything. And she collected millions of dollars.
White woman privilege.
That really is. And
I know.
It reminded me, I'm like, if you just want to give white women the right to say something happened and you have to believe them with no evidence, no proof, and they get $1 million, then let's talk about the civil rights era, because that's when black people were hung from trees because of that.
That's right.
Right? That's when Carolyn Bryant said about Emmett Till.
That's right.
He said something to me in a grocery with no evidence, no proof. You know what happened to Emmett Till?
Right.
And it's jarring to me that people don't see that.
I was one of the first persons on Twitter to make that assessment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought I was. Well, we need to go back in our tweets. I want street cred.
We're gonna have a contest. Yeah. But that was the first thing that went in my head.
I'm like, hello. Do you know your own history? You really want to? You really want to just give them like unfettered permission to say something happened and you're going to believe them? And the somebody asked me. It was a Washington Post. They're working on a really big hit piece on me at the moment.
The Washington Post is?
Yeah, they do these profile pieces on me, and like I give these interviews now because I don't care. I'm kind of in like post journalist world. Like no matter what you say, people know that you lie, and maybe it comes out good. Who knows? But she asked me at one point, "Do you think that white supremacy exists?" And I said, "The closest thing I've ever seen to it in my life is the radicalized feminist movement."
I can agree.
The closest thing to white supremacy that I've seen in my lifetime has been this radicalized Lena Dunham types going around saying we want this now, whatever we say happens. Do you remember this scandal with Lena Dunham, like saying that some black guy didn't say hi to her at the Met Gala and she was victimized? I mean, I've been paying attention to the growth. Kesha in the back of a courtroom crying, just believe her. The believe women thing has been building up, and I've been like, this is getting crazy.
It is crazy.
And women have to be the one to take it down. It's like up to us to say something about it.
Well, I said it yesterday. I'll tell you what I said. she says something to me about, well, you know, they were there in the room because they thought they were going to get a job 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's like, because they're hoes.
Have you lived? Have you seen, like, the way that women
like, if
use
you
sex
don't
to
run
get...
out the room and go, excuse me, you don't talk to me that, you don't do that to me, excuse me, and leave. But you stayed around because you're like, well, I thought maybe he was going to give me a writing job. Well, you ain't nothing but a hoe.
Right, but I said that when like the Louis C.K. It might have been the Louis C.K. thing
That's
or
who
another
I'm talking
scandal
about,
that
too.
happened, and I was reading the article, and we were in his hotel room at 3 a.m. in the morning. My first question: what the hell were you
Right.
doing in his hotel room? What happens at 3 a.m. in the morning in a man's hotel room? Business meetings? He was just going to give me career advice, you know, and I think it's crappy that women are pretending that some of these people
They're
aren't hoping...
pretending that they didn't go to trade sexual favors for money.
And by the way, this doesn't just happen in Hollywood. This happens in life. Okay,
I know.
no matter what.
I say I tried to trade sexual favors for a career, but nobody was buying it. And I'm like, you know, come on. This is so unfair.
So you had to work.
I had to
Completely
make
unfair.
it on talent and good looks alone.
It's completely unfair, by the way.
It is.
Yeah, but it's true, and nobody wants to
Look
talk
at
about
Kamala Harris, who I call Kama Sutra Harris.
God.
She, excuse me.
You're...
She, you know what we all know what she did.
I did a Periscope this morning. I was like, she slept her way to the top, and if we're all going to pretend she didn't do that...
She slept her way to the bottom.
Right. If we're all going to pretend she didn't do it, okay, happy 2020 election cycle.
There
you know?
was a time as a feminist when I was, you know, way back at that bookstore, when it's like, no, we don't do that. We have respect for ourselves, and we stick together. But that all went to hell, too.
Well, I think feminism ultimately needs to be about truth-telling. I'm not into
sure
garnering power against men. That's not feminism. Stop calling it feminism. That's some radicalized white women's movement, as I say it. Call it the White Women's March.
Movement. That's what I say, too. Now, I have 2 sons. So this is my, one's 23, one's 40, and I got 5 grandsons. So I have a different view on how women are than a lot of these other types, you know.
Right.
Because I know a hoe when I see one. And I'm telling you, they come from my boys because my boys, you know, I'm their mom and they're, you know, we have a little bit of money. So I got a eagle eye for this thing. And I know because and they need to be called out.
Right.
They really, really do.
Right.
And that's privilege too, hoe privilege.
There really is. And that's what it is when they come out 50 years later and say that they were in some man's hotel room at 3 a.m. and he made a sexual advance. And nobody asks the question, hey, what were you doing at 3 a.m.? I've never had a boss say to me, hey, Candace, could you stop by at 3 a.m. in the morning at my hotel room? And I would not send off every red flag in my head.
Yeah, hello.
You know,
you go like this, no.
Right. Like, I'm shocked to find out that men are attracted to women and they made a pass at me in their hotel room at 3 a.m.
It's just that women are pissed because they weren't attracted to the guy that did.
Or they didn't get the career. Right. So then they go 30 years later, they go, you know what? My career actually never did take off. So I'm going to hop on this bandwagon and say that, you know, something horrible happened to me. And it actually, the reason why I think that this is what we're talking about right here is actually real feminism is because what we're protecting are real victims. The real victims. Because there are women who actually get raped. There are men that are actually predators. And they are no longer...
There are men who get raped, too.
And there are men who get raped.
And that's what broke me off from feminists a million years ago when I had my first show. I think it was 96. And I've always been pro-child victims, you know, sexual abuse victims. And I've done so much stuff over the years for that in every way possible that I could. And they were telling me, like, oh, no, we're not going to say 2 things you can't say, Roseanne, that there are boy victims and that women are predators. That's what they told me.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, then count me out, man. Right. Count me out, because it's not true. Hello, there's such a thing called truth.
It is. And to pretend that women are, like, we're all these victims walking around and we have no idea what we're doing and we just were there at 3 a.m. in the hotel room. I can't stand it. It's so dishonest. It's
disempowering of women. And it makes our view of the world just like they want us to be those veals. They want us to be human veal. And they have reduced our view to a tiny microcosm of the world. And the world is ours.
Right. I know. if I could pick every single day, which on the left you can't, you just pick your gender every day. But if I would choose every single day to be a woman. You know what I mean? Like, I do not want to be a man. The men are out there fighting the wars. They're the ones falling off of roofs and dying. And nobody, there's like a meme on the internet that says, nobody calls a feminist when there's an emergency. Like, and it's true, you know? Yeah. And seeing this anti-masculinity is bad. No, masculinity is great. I love masculinity.
I do too.
I need a shirt that just says I love masculinity. It's great.
I love men. I got a bunch of them in my family, you know, that I gave birth to on top of being with. But no, I love men who love women.
Right.
A lot of men don't. A lot of women don't like women either. There's some truth.
Right, there is some truth, but unfortunately, when you are starting to conflate masculinity with rape, which is what's happening now, like if you're masculine, then you're a predator. No, masculinity is the opposite of femininity, and I like being feminine, and men should like being masculine, and it's symbiotic and it's beautiful, and it's now being corrupted by this whole myth of like the white privileged male predator who's masculine. Right, it's a horrible time to be a white male right now. By the way, Bub, I'm not interested in being a white male.
That's why it's the Candace Owens Show.
That's why it's the Candace Owens Show. It's a bad time. And one of the first articles I did...
It's time for the truth you're telling.
Well, I think, and I think one of the first conversations that I opened up about this when I saw this happening is that I actually also feel bad for women that are misreporting their rapes because they don't... When I was in school, I learned what rape actually was. Like, this is before the tide of radical feminism. And it was like, you can be date raped, and then you don't remember things, and you're dragged, you're in an alley. And rape was a very serious word. Now it's like, I got drunk last night and I slept with someone and I kind of regret it. So I'm going to go to the police, and they're being taught that that's rape. And no, that's regret, sweetheart. Like, somebody needs to, there's a difference between rape and regret.
And they do this show thing. They got a show going on, but what's behind it is the real story. So while they're doing that show, here's the fact. That real rape victims, they're not even processing the rape kits. Like, I know where I live in Hawaii, they had the backlog of rape kits on our whole island, and people who are really raped and go to the police, they don't even do anything about it anymore.
Interesting.
There's a backlog of like 2 years worth of rape kits that haven't even been.
I could believe it because it's not that real rape isn't trendy right now. Real rape is not trendy. Like it's social media rape. Like, oh, I remember this. A guy touched my butt in middle school and I didn't give him consent. Like, did you swing around and tell him not to touch your butt? Because that's what I did in middle school. My first time my butt got slapped, I was in 7th grade. And the guy's name was Devin. And I turned around and I said, don't smack my ass. And I think he went on to become a great father. And it didn't need to ruin his life. It did not scar me for the rest of mine. And that is what I mean.
That's really true, is that women are like being encouraged to be conniving.
Conniving little wimps.
Yeah. Instead of going, I told you no.
Right.
Now, do you want me to bring my brother over here tomorrow?
Right.
Because he's big.
Right, like do it again. And
that's how
I grew up.
Yeah.
And that was okay, and it was fine. And kids are funny, and they go hormone phases, and everyone starts getting interesting, everyone starts getting their bodies. Everybody lived and survived middle school, early high school, and everything was fine. And now they're making even that. If a man is attracted to a woman, it's somehow becoming something that is dirty and disgusting.
And my son just graduated from college, and he called me from there, and he's like, man, he went to a liberal college and he couldn't take it. He'd draw these cartoons and send them home to me all the time about the people around there. But he's like, okay, I got it. They've educated me. Everything is rape. Unless she
got a good education.
Unless she demands that I have sex with her.
But even if she demands it, that can still be rape, because now there's a thing on college campuses about you can revoke consent after you've had sex.
Oh my God!
I read an article on this, and it was stunning. No, I just am not going to send my kids to the university because I'm probably going to have a little boy, and I'm just going to be like, I'm sorry, like there's just no point in sending you out into the world. But you do have to feel bad for the women too, because they're learning it. They're learning that it's rape. So they're not doing it to be conniving. They're being taught that that's not conniving, that that's normal. That it's like...
They want us back in our pens, and we got out a little bit in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Right.
And they had to smack that down.
Right.
Because it wasn't good, and they didn't like it.
Yeah, and a little bit of shame is good. So you amend your behavior. So if you wake up and you regret doing something, and you feel shameful because you drank too much and you went home with someone that you otherwise wouldn't have gone home with, that's a good remedy for you not doing it the next night.
Right, exactly.
And yet now we're handing everybody excuses. Right. It wasn't your fault. It was this. And so you go out and you drink the same way because what should men carry breathalyzers? Like, are they not drunk? Does it not work both ways? Like, and I just don't understand the world that women are comfortable with creating for men. Like, they are not dropped off from the stork. I'm assuming you had your child. Men come from women. This is the society that we have to raise little boys in.
And it's tough. The little boys, it's tough to raise the little boys too because they got it in for them.
Right. And your son was
in the schools. In my grandsons, they go to school where they have to live with all that, whatever we're going to call it, leftist BS.
Dogma.
Yeah, about the same stuff. Like, my one grandson was getting bullied, and so they go, they let the bully off the hook 9,000 times, doing it to all the boys. It's a private school, but they just keep letting the bullies off the hook, and it makes me really mad. I'm like, do I have to go over that school and set the teacher straight? Because I'm ready to.
How old?
But instead, they were just little, like 7, 8, and 9.
Right.
And it's like, well, that boy, here's what they said, well, that boy has a lot of problems. He doesn't have a happy home life. I said, well, I don't care. He's not to touch my grandsons. Right. Or I'm going to come, I did do some threatening. And people don't like me. I know that. But I'm like, do I have to come over there? I'm not happy and I'd love to slap somebody and I'll come and see you. Right. I'm not happy right now either.
Yeah, the education system is just, it's alarming to me, like teaching children that they can pick their genders. And I just don't think my kid's going to go to school. It's got to be homeschooling.
You do have to homeschool.
That's right. Homeschool now.
I homeschooled my son for a couple of years. It was the best thing. And I tell my daughters, you got to homeschool the boys. You don't want them around these girls. Right. The girls are like, I don't know what they've done to the girls, but it's not good. And you can't tell them anything either. I have 3 daughters, so I know. Right. It's like, you guys are backward. I'm sorry, but everything you do is backward.
It is. It is backward, but they're being taught to do it backward. So do you?
They are being taught that.
Do you have any liberal friends?
Oh yeah, everybody in my family is liberal. Are you kidding? Yeah. They drive me. But I accept what they are. It's like if they didn't have an arm or something, I guess. and so I just accept and pray for them. And, I listen to their, like when Trump won, I had broke my leg, and I was in this hotel in San Francisco. And it was my birthday on November 3rd. So all my family came and they were with me when we had the election, 16. And I told everybody, Trump's going to win by 80%. Wow. Because I had been all over the country and I knew. And I had been reading, hello. I didn't watch TV news, I read. And so, I told them, he's going to win. And then it came that night, where he won. And, they're telling me the whole time, there's no way, the whole thing. And my one daughter, she'll be very angry at me, but she's really liberal. And when Trump won, she started crying. I'm not kidding. Tears were running down her cheeks, and this is what she said: "He's gonna deport all the gays." That's what she said. I swear to God.
So your show actually was pretty...
Yeah, it's my family.
Oh my goodness. And she's like,
"Oh, mother! Of course she was conspiracy theories and all that." It's always like that, right? But I just go, you guys don't know. Just wait another year. And every year that passes, they have to come to me, and I get a big pleasure. Oh, you were right. Oh, but the best is my grandsons. I took them out, and my grandson that's 13 now, he says to me, "Granny, now that my parents aren't here, I just want to say Trump was the better candidate. I agree."
How old is he?
He's 13.
Generation Z, they are so conservative.
Yeah, they are.
They're the last hope. They're like smart. Meme culture. Because first of all, they don't watch the news. Right. People that watch Fox News and CNN are like 65 plus, So they're all on the internet. So they're paying attention to the meme culture. Trump's giving them the one-liners. And
that's what I was going to say about my son. Let me say. My son said, "Mom, take heart, because the one thing about the right, we're killer on memes.
Yeah, we're winning the internet.
Because we have humor.
Yeah, we're funnier. We're just funnier. We're able to take the piss out of ourselves, out of other people, and that we're just funnier. That really is what it's about. And,
it is.
And I talk about that, why the world desperately needs comedy without restrictions.
That's right.
Because it makes people feel better and it makes people come together.
Right.
And if you
people
go back,
need to hear, like you say about, you need to tell them. They need to be corrected. And so now I'm very excited because I'm going to go do my stand-up comedy again. I'm going to tell people what in the hell I think of them. I'm going to tell women you're nothing but hoes.
Right.
I'm going to tell men, why do
I know a hoe when I see one.
I do. And I'm telling the men, why are you letting women do this to you?
Right.
You know,
I know your thing is so unattractive, by the way. The men with the tail in between their legs, like a guy wearing a shirt that says "I'm a feminist." Ew, no, thank you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
you know what that means? A guy that says he's a feminist.
I don't know what it means.
I do.
What does it mean?
It means he whines all the damn time for you to bring him something.
Right.
It does. I know how these things work.
And the thing is, the feminists don't even want. They want alpha males. They don't even want. That's the whole thing. It's so crazy because they're fighting for something that they ultimately don't want. I think Chelsea Handler wants to date Trump. Actually,
I do too.
She'll
date anybody.
It's obsessive.
There's nobody she wouldn't date. Let's be real.
Yeah,
about her.
I know. Another person talk about how she got her show. She was dating come on. We're pretending this doesn't happen in Hollywood.
I tried to go after Ted too, but like I say.
Right. You tried it and failed.
I had to just go by talent.
Yeah, you were bad at being a hoe.
Yeah. Well, I was good at being a hoe at some times in my life.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do, but I'm talking about now.
Right. I'm telling you, you could have saved your show.
Well, sometimes things are just too damn funny for people.
Right.
And they can't take it. If it's got some truth in it. Oh, they just hated that I was for Trump.
Right, that was it.
Right away. I was going to tell you this. Are we out of time?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Right from the jump, straight, like when first of all, never, I don't know how long you worked, but Hollywood, here it is. As soon as somebody, I've always known this much, as soon as they tell me I'm a genius, that means I'm going to get it. No grease. And if you know what I mean, up the chute with no grease. As soon as they call me a genius.
Right.
I've known that for a long time. But the other one now is, we got your back. Oh, that means the same thing.
Really?
And that's what they told me. Oh, we got your back this time. We're so there. We're going to protect you. We're not going to let them throw you. And they threw me,
Wait, I want to ask you, how did it feel when your castmates didn't have your back? If I was like a castmate for you, I would be like, this is ridiculous. Everybody knows she's not racist. I mean, like, come on. But they all issued these statements that were like, this does not represent the values of the show. I mean, I remember reading this and being like, what cowards you are. You've known this woman for how long? And you're really going to allow this to happen to her? Like, you guys are basically all eating off of her. Let's be honest. You were the show. And they had just no gall. They had no backbone.
I think it was all planned, and I don't even know why they wanted me to come back. I mean, when I look back, I don't even know why. But they didn't want the money.
No?
No, it doesn't make any sense. They killed the #1 show before one sponsor pulled out.
Wow.
And their first phone call
pulled out.
Before one sponsor, they killed it in 40 minutes. And you know who their first phone call was to?
Who?
Brace yourself, Miss Jarrett.
No
The
way.
president of ABC said his first call was to Miss Jarrett to apologize to her. And then I was gone.
40 minutes.
Mm-hmm. I was gone, but that was just... And I think they have the right to fire people who, they can fire whoever they want. But it wasn't just about firing. It was about smearing needlessly, preventing me from explaining my tweet. They could have put me on The View the next day. Mm-hmm. I mean, Disney, people who are all about imagination, but they can't come up with one way to allow me to speak. They can't imagine any of that crap. But, so they went and put me on The View. You know what they said? You sign away all your rights, and then we'll defend you. And I said, all I want is for you to say I'm not a racist. I asked all the cast members. I asked all the producers, and I go, you know who I am and what I've done in my life. You know my family and what my family looks like. It is the worst thing that, like when, calling you a Nazi.
Right.
Calling me a Nazi. They've called me that too.
They call me anti-black and say I'm a racist, so there's no rules anymore.
Yeah. But that one really got me because of my whole life, what I've done, what I've cared about and fought for. And I just wanted them to stop that.
Right.
So they said, well, we won't allow you can't speak for yourself until you sign away all the rights to this show. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I prayed. I'm like, it's more important to me for my good name and what I fought for my whole life than to even this show. So I signed it. And they go, everybody's going to love you because you gave up the money, so everybody can keep their job. We're going to thank you, blah, blah. Next day, Roseanne's a racist from ABC. And Sarah Gilbert and Michael Fishman and Wanda Sykes and Sandra Bernhardt and Kathy Griffin and all of them.
She's a clown show.
Listen, I'm going to say one thing. When I went to bat for Sandra, Kathy, and Sarah to get them on TV, because I gave them all their TV jobs, every network that I had, Kathy was on Fox, I had Sarah on ABC and Sandra on ABC. You know what the people at the networks told me? Those girls are too ugly to go on TV. And I said, this is so incredibly sexist. Look at me. I'm no beauty. You can't take talent for a woman and reduce it to her facial flaws. Are you me? And nowadays I'm like, God, they were right.
Yeah.
They are too ugly to be on TV.
And it's the ugliness that's in their heart, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, that's what I mean. The ugliness inside. Like Sandra Bernhardt sat in my mother's house for Shabbat and then made fun of me for being, an abused, having lived through child abuse. I mean, they just have no decency.
No soul.
No.
I think Hollywood is soulless. I really do.
I do too. Well, I know what they really are about, and one of these days I'm going to tell on.
Right, and I think that it's disgusting. And
can I say that the time that I was fired at Disney, and a lot of people said they had hired. First, I'm going to send you so you can read because I don't want to get you in trouble.
I would love to see the.
I'm going to send them.
That. Yeah, the hypocrisy of the left never astounds me. So nothing seems. I have quite an imagination when it comes to how hypocritical the left can get, and I think Hollywood is just one of these towns where every single person is just up to their neck, absolutely full of crap, and
they also are complicit in the worst crap you've ever heard of in your life.
Right.
They are.
Yeah. And yet they wear black gowns and say time's up and Me Too.
Yeah.
They're $20,000 gowns and time's up and Me Too when the whole town
and
is
not one of them
rotten.
defended me, none of those women. And half of them wouldn't even have a job if it wasn't me kicking that door down for them. So they can kiss my
Good. And I'm glad you're saying that
and
because loyalty, I work with people that are loyal now. I mean, that's just my thing going forward and trying to smear me as somebody that would be sympathetic to Hitler. Prager, you had my back instantly. It was like, this is the most ridiculous thing we've ever heard. I work with PragerU. Dennis Prager is Jewish, even though he's been called anti-Semitic as well. So, like I said, there's no rules.
Well, we're all divided against each other because that's how they keep us in our little pens.
Right.
The more we can love and include each other, the more powerful we're going to get. And that's what I want everybody to know. If somebody doesn't think exactly like you, love them anyway. I love the liberals in my family, even though, like I say, they're handicapped. But we have to do that.
Right.
We have to. And seek solutions to actual problems, not just empty rhetoric and narrative, but real solutions to actual problems for people that are suffering in our country, like the veterans that are living under bridges. Hello.
Right. America first.
America first, absolutely. A kick-ass America first.
So here's the thing that we do at the end of every episode, which is really exciting. And yours is going to be a good one. So we allow you to launch. You get 2 minutes. Bub puts 2 minutes on the timer. And you look into that camera, and you get to leave one imprint on the world, one message that you get to say to the world. It cannot go over 2 minutes. If you wish, it could come from your mouth, and every single person in the world would hear it.
Am I doing it now?
You're going to do it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I love you all so much. I love you, love you, love you. I wish you would love each other more. I wish you would laugh more. And most of all, I wish you would listen to the things I say, because I'm 66 years old and I have lived through more than most of you will ever live through. And I know what needs to happen. So I want you to listen to me. I give good advice and I'm always right. That's what I want to say. I say that to my kids.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you guys for watching the latest episode of the Candace Owens Show. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. As many of you guys already know, PragerU is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, which means we need your help to keep all of our content free to the public. Please consider making a tax-deductible donation today. I would really appreciate your support.